Hey everyone, in today's video, we're gonna finally finish these. It's been about 2 years since I bought each of these receivers, the worst Pioneer and worst Marantz on eBay at the time. This is a Marantz 2230, it came without a faceplate, it was super dusty, super gross, and we've fully restored it at this point. We've got a new dial pointer thanks to vintagehifiaudio.com, faceplate too actually. And really all that's left is putting together the dial face on this thing, putting a string on the tuner. As you can see, this doesn't move, and it needs an FM alignment. And then with this Pioneer SX750 here, we need to finish up this faceplate, try and see if we can undo the mistakes we made in the dishwasher 2 years ago. We've got to redo the wood veneer on this outer case, probably paint this also since it's in terrible condition, and then it too needs an FM alignment. So this video is just gonna be me wrapping this stuff up. There's not really enough here to make any like individual good videos, so I'm just wrapping this all up into one big video. I've been putting these off for a long time and haven't done a very good job of kind of carrying out a series on this channel, unfortunately. So I want them done, I want them off of my docket, and I want them to be in use. So that's what I'm gonna do in this video, and once I do that, I'm gonna feel a lot better moving on to the next thing. So I think I would like to start with the 2230, the OG power washed receiver on this channel that got this channel places I never thought it would. First thing, I want to show you these parts. This dial face glass here is actually from vintagehifiaudio.com, and you can see they've got the black right here and the gyro touch tuning text right here, so it's really a direct fit into here. So we'll have glass finally. So this will go on, but what I did here is I 3D printed these plastic pieces. It's difficult to print this piece because most 3D printers have about a 12-inch bed, and the one I had access to was indeed only about 12 inches. So I had to do it in 2 pieces. I had to kind of guess on the length. It was too short the first time, so this time I made it too long. So I'm going to need to whittle this down right here and here so that it actually fits. And that'll be the end of the cosmetic upgrades on here. If you recall, we actually hand machined these knobs. Thanks to the machinist at my old job, we just took some scrap and made this happen. And then we'll need to remove the faceplate screws. Okay, so our faceplate is off. So here's what I did. I actually measured the I measured this piece off of my 2270. So that's how I got these dimensions. And they'll need to be glued in, of course. And yeah, like I said, gotta whittle them down a little bit, but I will show you when they're actually in, they'll look like this on the edges. Which, you know, we've got this 3D printed finish right here. That's not that great, but it's a pretty close fit to the original. This has been kind of stressing me out because, you know, I made it too long, of course, and that's a good thing, but it means that I need to make sure I get the lengths dead on when I put this together. And there'll also be a seam in the middle right there, and that's kind of unfortunate, but that's just what I'm working with right now. It looks like I really only need to take off a few thou on both sides of here. So I might go grab some sandpaper and just slowly work on it that way. Yeah, now it kind of fits, but it's not very good. This is not going to look very good when it's done, unfortunately, but it's nothing that can't be gone through in the future and fixed. But for now, I think this is going to work just fine. Yeah, now that the paper's off, you know, it's actually pretty okay. Okay, well, that was terrible. I'm gonna let this dry. We'll see how it is, and if it's really, really bad, we'll have to go through and redo it again. But, I mean, it'll work. For what this is, it will work. It's just definitely not right. I do not recommend taking this 3D print approach. Unless you can get it printed as one piece and it's not going to warp, which is going to be not easy. Well, there you have it. It is glued together. I don't really want to show it up too close because it's not the greatest, and behind it was, you know, kind of a mess getting it glued. I had to use multiple glues, as you may have noticed, but this glass piece from VintageHiFiAudio.com looks very good in here. It's a very close match in terms of the tint of the plastic. I know I've said glass multiple times in this video. I've meant to say, you know, plexiglass, or it is plastic, it is not actually glass. I guess I'll take you up and show you the biggest criticism I have here, and this is all me, by the way. Let's make that very clear. I'm going to get a new camera next year, I think. This thing it really is having a very hard time right now. There's a little break in the bezel there, because this is indeed a 3D printed piece that is two pieces, and it's really hard to get this distance, this length, perfect. I think that's why no one's really come out with a replacement bezel yet, is because this dimension is over 12 inches, so that takes most 3D printers completely out of the picture. I think it was originally an injection molded piece, which means, you know, they had a tool, a whole bunch of them being made all at once to justify the cost of an injection mold tool. There's not enough demand in this world today to make, you know, thousands more of these and justify having an injection molded tool made. Otherwise, these parts would probably cost hundreds of dollars each. So, I don't know, if you've got a large bed 3D printer, you should take a stab at this. The only thing you run into is, you know, these pieces warped just from sitting around in the months it took for me to actually do this. So that's a challenge there. But yeah, let's kind of take a step back for a moment and realize, like, you can build any part of the front of one of these receivers. Vintage Hi-Fi Audio has just about all of it. They've got the knobs, they've got the push buttons, they've got the this face now too. And let's not forget, back here, this was one of the hardest parts to get. They printed that the blue dial face back there. That's not original to this. That's a VintageHiFiAudio.com product. You know, again, VintageHiFiAudio.com. Give them a visit if you're looking for something like this. If you're looking for these parts, even the pointer too. Everything visual here was needed, and VintageHiFiAudio.com provided it for this video series. So, forever thankful for that. Okay, I think I've ranted enough there. The next thing to do, I think, is fix this problem. You know, we want to be able to get some tuner action going here. So let's pull up the service manual and see how we're supposed to string this. Now I will put a picture of the tuner string routing on the video here, but I won't put it on there forever. That's what I'm referencing. You can look this up in any service manual for 2230 if you want to follow along more closely. So what we've got here is the original string. It actually came with the receiver somehow. And this is important, and it's a good thing because there's a little piece buried under here that we want. It's a little hook doodad type thingy, and it's going to allow us to kind of make our loops with our new string. So this is just a little piece of heat shrink. I'm just going to undo this slowly so I can expose the little part we're after. Okay, we made it through. So this is the little hook thing we're talking about here. Maybe you can see that. Let's see. It's just a little hook. Yeah. It's just a little hook. Notably, this is the hook part. You can see that they used like a little, I'm blanking on the name of this little metal clip here, but, oh, a crimp. Yeah, they did a little crimp right here, covered it in glue, and then put it in the heat shrink. So that was after this was tied to the hook here. So now what we got to do is remove the old string from this hook piece so we can use our new string. Okay, so our hook is all cleaned out. And just for funsies, let's see how strong is our old string. And it's actually decently strong. I don't feel too good pulling any tighter than that. So this is nice because it gives us a general length to start with here. Then this stuff, I get this question a lot in other videos where I do restrings. This is discontinued. I can't find this anymore. I got it on Amazon years ago. But it's just braided fishing line. And this particular stuff is these dimensions here, like 28 thou thick, 150 pound, 68 kilogram, 0.7 millimeter thick, and quite a bit of it on this roll here, so I'm good for a while. And it's only like, I don't know, it wasn't that expensive, so any outdoor shop should have braided fishing line, I would imagine. And that's where I'd start for buying replacement string for your project. This stuff is also incredibly difficult to cut, and you want it to be cut pretty clean because you're going to be sliding this through things and kind of tying knots and whatnot. It's a little sloppy, but since it's so hard to cut, we'll just kind of deal with it. Okay, so let's get all of our stuff out of the way here. Throw away the old string, we don't need it anymore. We have a new heat shrink we can use later. One thing I noticed is this piece right here. We're missing one little part where the string is supposed to kind of sit in here and kind of catch itself. So we'll need to take extra care when we glue this and make sure it is actually secure against the back of our pointer here. First thing I'll do is I'll get this tied onto here. And if you've ever sewed, you know, lick the thread to help it go through the hole on the needle. And yeah, see, this is why you want to get a good cut. I did not have a good cut. I'll see if I can do a little better. Okay, got it. Then all I'm going to do is just tie some little tiny knots, maybe 2 of them, just enough to make sure we're not going anywhere. And of course, as we do this, we're trying to make sure our knot happens toward the end of our string, so we have as much string left as possible when we get to the end parts here. Yeah, you can see the graphics has a start text on there. It says to start at this end. First thing we're going to do is we're going to make our way along here. And what we're going to do is we're going to go, we're going to glue to here later. We're going to go through this actually later. First thing we got to do is go along this pulley right in here that we can't see. Yeah, this graphic is quite confusing, folks. I think what we're doing first is we're going around this pulley on the far end right here. But before we can do that, we need to... Okay, I can't even talk through this. I'm just gonna do this and you're gonna see the end result. That's how this is gonna go. Sorry. Okay, maybe I can do a little better for you all. So, as I'll show you, I've got it basically linked up. I'm almost there. What I just did was I tried to set the position of this thing. So, on this hook, you want this in a place such that it's never going to roll over this pulley or that pulley, because that wouldn't end very well for you. So, as you can see, I'm kind of pulling this as if I'm moving the station toward the higher end of the FM AM band, and we stop right about here. And that's fine. You know, our needle's probably going to be attached right about here. This is where the needle goes. So like here's 88 and here's 106 basically in FM in North America. So if we go back all the way here, you know, we're going back to 87.5 or 88 point whatever. And our tuning cap stops right there, but we're still about to hit this. So basically, what I want to do is move some string through, kind of like so, and just kind of pull this so that, you know, when we bottom out, did I make it worse? Jeez. Okay. I need to make my adjustments out here, I think. This is kind of a pain in the arse, folks. It's not easy. A gigantic pain in the arse. Okay, so there we go. I'm going back to 88. You know, I need a little bit more, so let's go out to this end again. And then what I can do is I can keep tension right here, but I can kind of feed some string through like so. And there we go. So we got our little adjustment. Now let's come back to 88 and see where we are. That's okay. I want a little bit more, so go back this way, put that there. I'm gonna feed that through. There we go. Let's check again. I'm kind of pulling on this string here slightly through all of this. There, that's much better. So see, now what I can do is I can make my loop around this pulley best I can, hook onto there, and then look at that. This is it. Now I just need to tie a little knot right here, and we'll be good to go. But still, even as I tighten this, I think I want a little bit more. I want more space there, because as you tighten it, it kind of comes in a little bit. Okay, so okay. I'm just kind of pulling this back. Probably shouldn't do that, but it's fine. You can see as I pull this, well maybe you can't, but like the spring tension gets a little bit more intense as I do that. Okay, so I think I'm just gonna try to tie my knot here. So I tied my knot, but it's too loose, so now I gotta try to tension that somehow. See, this is why they use that crimp. They don't have to deal with this. Okay, look at that, folks. I got it just tight enough. I wish it was tighter. But okay, maybe I didn't. Dang it. It was working. What happened? Okay, and some of you may have noticed I missed a key thing that I mentioned was important earlier, and that is putting the heat shrink over your hook there. I forgot to do that, and I have just spent so much time getting this to fit. I'm not going to do it, so cancel me. See if I care. We're going to put a little dab of glue. Yabba dabba glue on each of these knots here to make sure they don't come untied. We're going to need glue on our needle too. So I just remembered something nice. When we put our string on here, it's going to add a little extra tension. Here it is, working dial pointer. So what we'll need to do next is kind of set this on the string, get it close, and then when we actually do our FM alignment, we'll get this thing totally dialed in and ready to go. Alright, so the glue is dried now, and this is in place and working quite nicely. Just wrapping up a few extra little things here. One thing I did is I didn't have the same type of fuse lamp in all 5 sockets here, so I did that. The vintage hi-fi audio dial face here. Also, it doesn't need vellum in this section, but it does in this section. So I put a little piece of vellum paper over the indicators. And then I also replaced the vellum paper on the tuner meter because I never got that done. I've got this little guard back on for the tuner pointer bulb wire. And the one thing I did that's kind of silly is I actually went back to electrolytic capacitors in the signal path. If you remember the restoration video on this thing, I put some films here, and I decided to go back to electrolytics. I did the same thing underneath for the preamp. If you recall, we had film capacitors in place of the 3.3 microfarads, and I replaced them with some audio grade electrolytics. Why did I do this? So this is where it all gets kind of insane, and there could be every comment saying everything ever. But when I restored this receiver and I listened to it when it was finished, I just kind of noticed something was missing. Just like I don't even know how to describe it really, just like a very, it sounded less clear in the highs. Like this receiver is one of the clearest sounding I've ever heard. Like it's kind of a magical sound in a way. And I know that's ridiculous to say, but that's just kind of how I feel. That's what I think when I hear this thing. And for some reason, I didn't seem to feel that or hear that when I finished restoring it. And then X-Ray Tony B comes about with his film cap versus electrolytic cap videos. The more advanced of my viewers have seen those videos, I'm sure. I personally participated in the comments section on those videos. And when he compared source audio versus electrolytic cap preamp versus film cap preamp, I actually accurately guessed which one was which. I knew which one was electrolytic, which one was film, and which one was the source. Now, discerning the source from the other two was pretty easy, as most people would agree in the comments of that video, but it was kind of a toss-up between which one, the electrolytic versus the film, which one was that? And I really got lucky in my guess, but I wanted the electrolytic to sound better, and that's the one I preferred. And again, they were super similar. So hard to tell a difference, but I could hear one. I really could. And the one I liked more was electrolytic. So I think it's true. I think these caps do sound different. I think that if you look at their properties electrically, and you look at how some of this stuff is designed, and you kind of watch his videos and hear some of these old arguments. I don't think he really wants to talk about it anymore, but I mean, it's gonna make a different sound. It just is. They're so different electrically, a film versus an electrolytic. There's no way it can't. So I am happy to report that after putting these 6 electrolytic capacitors, 3 per side, in this receiver, I think I've got that sound back. I think I hear what I want to hear. I think it sounds how it did before I restored it now. It sounds really good. And this is all just a matter of opinion. You know, this is all subjective. This is just, insanity, but it's what I hear. It's how I want my receiver, and I'm going to keep this thing because I really don't want to go through the trouble of selling it because, it's been hacked up right here. And then I said I didn't want to show you earlier, but I'll show you. Just the disaster that is this faceplate and my stuff with the 3D printed part. I mean, the glue is not, it's not set in there properly. Up here, it's particularly bad. I mean, I can't run the focus and hold this at the same time, but, again, the faceplate and the glass from vintagehifiaudio.com, very, very good, but my 3D printed PLA bezel is not. So, and I guess we can see it here. Will the camera want to... Yeah, I've got my overhead light on, so it's working a little better this time. You can really see what's going on there. So, it's my receiver. I'm going to do what I want with it, and that's that. All that's left, really, at this point, since I've done just about everything, is we got to do a power test. So, I guess I'll whip out that stuff. We'll do the power test, and the FM alignment, what I'm going to do for that is I'm going to make a video where I do an FM alignment on like all kinds of receivers and just pack it all into one thing, because I think there's a lot of people that are specifically looking for FM alignment content, and it's not the people that are watching these videos casually per se. So if I could make one extremely boring video with like 4 or 5 FM alignments in it with the same tool but different receivers, I think that's going to be a pretty good way to go. So this will be in there, the SX750 will be in there, and I've got some other receivers that need it as well. It's kind of hard to believe that this is finally finished. So let me put this together and we'll go see how we set the bias and center the clipping. So for the bias, we want 5 millivolts across resistor R774. But we can get to R774 by measuring across some posts down here. Those are J757 and J758. And it looks like we have 7 millivolts, and this is warmed up, by the way. It's been running, so let's tone that down a little bit. Let's get that down to that 5 that we want to see. And we're going to adjust R765, which you can access from up top. Okay, so I brought it all the way down, and then I'm going to bring it up slowly. 1, 2, 3, 5. Okay, there's my 5. Easy. Now let's do that on the other side. Whatever. And then that one's at 8, so let's do the same thing. Let's adjust R765 up here for 5 millivolts. Not that way. I brought it all the way down to the bottom. Now I'm coming up slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There it is. 5 millivolts. Folks, we have made it. We're about to measure the power output of the power washed Marantz 2230. It's been a long time coming, so we're going to start with the left channel, and we're going to see what it can do. We're going to bring this up until we see clipping. At what voltage do we see clipping? Seeing it down there already. Gotta back off a little bit. I'd say around 18 volts we get clipping. So what does that equate to? 18 volts equates to 40 watts approximately. So it's working, and it's working exceptionally well. So now we got to do what we call the clipping adjustment. So with these amplifiers, these cap coupled styles, what happens is you can get some uneven clipping. Actually, that's kind of interesting behavior I'm getting right there. When I shock it, I can get it to... Hey, did you see what happens there? Look. It kind of comes and then it goes. Very interesting. What I'm seeing here is really close, but I do see a little bit at the bottom, so let me zoom in here. You can see that a little bit. I'm going to adjust our 760 and see if I can get it so I don't see that. Let's see. I can make it worse. And then I can make it a little better, but then it starts showing up top. You see that? So now I'm turning it the other way. I'm going to bring the volume down a little bit. I think that's about symmetrical right there. You can see it kind of going on both sides, and then as you come down it kind of settles. So what's our new number there now that we're more equal clipping? It's more like 18.5 volts, so that's going to be a little bit more power, huh? Okay, well, it was 18.5. Yeah, see. Okay. Our left channel's doing great. Let's switch over to our right channel and see how that looks. Okay, everything's been switched over. I'm going to bring it up and see if we get the same thing. And yeah, it's about the same thing, about 18.5. This one also clips at the bottom first, so let's see if we can get rid of that by turning our 760. That's about the best I can make it right there. So, not bad at all. That is it, folks. The power washed Marantz 2230 is officially done. Boy, I tell you what, this thing's cover has been not secured to the receiver for a very long time. It's just been sitting on there, and the bottom cover has been held, and there's always been a bunch of stuff inside of here in this bag, and now I get to not put this bag back inside of the receiver because it's done and I can go use it now. And there it is, a fully restored Marantz 2230. Can you tell that most of the stuff on this faceplate is not original? Maybe not from this angle. Alright, let's get this done for the Pioneer, eh? Well, I tell you what, it took me a minute to stop listening to that 2230. I think the hype around the 2230 is real. I think there is something about that receiver's sound that is just, I don't know, there's just an extra level of perfection, this smoothness my buddy and I talk about, but I hear this extreme clarity in the high end also, and it's just well balanced. You turn it up, you don't get fatigued. It's just really nice. Probably nicer than this thing. So, here's one thing we gotta do. We gotta get some new veneer on this thing. I did this in 2013 to another Pioneer SX750 that I then gifted to my girlfriend at the time, who happens to be my wife now, and then I sold it. And she's always given me a pretty hard time about that, and I've never been happy with that decision, really. So this is going to her when this is done. She's going to take this to work and replace that that Sony that I gave her last year. And then I'll probably sell that Sony. But anyways, on this thing, you know, obviously we got all of our parts here. We need to get all this white junk off of here. You can see that. Maybe, I don't know. Like, what's up with that? You know, where'd all that white stuff come from? We'll get all this white stuff off, hopefully. And I have an idea, a plan, and it came from the comments, and it was to use, wait for it, this stuff, mothers. So I bought this not too long ago. This stuff, yeah, I've used this stuff before. The fumes are really gnarly, so I might do this outside. I wonder if it'll take off the text also. We'll see. Alright, let's go outside. Okay, we're going to apply a small amount to a towel like this. And then we're just going to start buffing until black residue appears. Something tells me there will not be a black residue. Well, you know what? I don't want to speak too soon, but it appears it's taking it right off, like immediately. So this is a very good thing. Thank you, whoever that was in the comments who suggested this. Oh yeah, there's your black residue. And yeah, I don't know if you can see that, but over here we've got the untreated section, and then over here we've got the treated. So, yep, I'm just gonna keep doing this. Cue the time lapse. I don't really know what's up with some of the buttons. They've got this like black or dark thing on them. It's not coming off with the polish. That being said, the faceplate actually turned out really nice. I think this is going to be totally awesome. It's going to look normal again on that receiver. I just got to clean out the extra gunk in the little cracks there. And yeah, maybe that'll just be the patina on this receiver. This stuff here. I don't know. It's the only knob like that in the world. Alright, next we're going to work on refinishing this cover here. Like I said, bought this stuff a long time ago. And I guess I'll look on Parts Express. I think that's where I got it. I'll see if it's still available. But yeah. We'll see if it even sticks anymore. I'm really not sure what to expect. So if I recall correctly, what I did was kind of started like this, and then I just take an X-Acto blade and... Oh wait. We gotta go like this, because that's the direction of the grain originally. And just to increase our chances, let's take this and go over it real quick. Well, hopefully most of that was in frame. I prefer to do stuff like this on the floor. But yeah, I went quickly. I should have made this better. Kind of regretting that. And then I had a pretty nice oopsie right here where my knife slipped and I lost the material. But this stuff is very compliant. The sides turned out pretty okay. And the adhesive is still good. So yeah, great product here. Now I'm gonna tape this off, give this a little spray paint real quick, and that should be it for the case. Alright, this is looking quite a bit better now. There's no more white stuff on the faceplate, really. I could probably use a second round of polish, but I'm not too worried about it. I think it looks pretty good, especially considering where it came from. And then my wood sticker job turned out okay. I ended up redoing this part because I wasn't happy with the amount of bubbles that were in it. And sides turned out pretty good. And I never recorded it, but I had to do the faceplate also because this was falling apart, you may recall. So yeah, now it looks brand new, I guess. I still don't have the cover screwed on because I think I need to check the bias still. And in order to do that, I gotta listen to it a little bit. Oh, and I painted this back here. I just took an angle grinder with a wire brush and took off all the old paint, and then I used Rust-Oleum engine enamel left over from the Jaguar project, and it's very shiny. It's very glossy. That's not how it's supposed to be, but it's what I had. So, yeah, from a distance, looks pretty dang good now. All right, let's hear it. No more AC hum. Mono, loudness. It's all working. Okay, to measure bias on the SX750, we go in from the bottom, just like on the 2230 actually. So what we do is we measure across pins 1 and 6, and then pins 11 and 16, and those go to the different channels. So let's do 1 and 6 right here. It's exactly at 30, so I'm going to leave that alone. And now we're going to check 11 and 16, which are here. And we're at 29. Tell you a secret, I didn't have the multimeter in view for the last shot, so I'm re-recording this, and I did adjust that one to be 30. It was at 33 before, now it's at 29, but the other one was actually at 30. So yeah, now once I put this back together, we can do the power test. Let's see how much power the power washed Pioneer SX750 makes. We've got 1 kilohertz going in. We're going to crank this up until we see clipping. I'm going to stand on this side so you can see. Alright, coming up. We're supposed to get 50 watts per channel. And there's our clipping right there. So let's back it off. Yeah, about right there. Call it 23 volts AC, approximately. Maybe more like 22 point something. Let's calculate that. 23 volts into 8 ohms is 66 watts per channel, approximately. So that's pretty good. And that waveform looks good too. Nothing weird happening. Very normal as we do that. So let's move on to the right channel. Okay, we've swapped over our stuff. Let's do the right channel now. And it's about the same thing. You love to see it. So there you go. The 50 watt per channel receiver is 65 watts per channel. Pretty awesome. And there you have it, everyone. These are the power washed receivers, and they are now restored and they are ready to go back into service. I wish it didn't take me this long, but I'm glad it's over. Really have had a lot of fun with this experience. And I guess now's the time to say, I don't encourage or promote power washing per se. Let's just make it very clear. What I did with these receivers was pure YouTube, pure comedy slash what's going to happen, because these receivers were so far gone, it did not matter. It did not matter if they made it out alive or not. They would have been sold for parts or something. I don't know. But instead, we were able to get all the parts they needed to go back to their former glory, especially the Marantz 2230. Thank you again, Aaron, at vintagehifiaudio.com for basically everything you see here. Couldn't have done this project without his help and his sending these parts for this channel. And then the Pioneer. No one helped with the Pioneer, but it was complete. So, and yeah, like I said, I can't get some stuff out of here. Like there's some blemishes on that speaker knob. Not sure how I'm going to get that off, but honestly, I'm not very concerned. If you remember what these looked like before, it's a huge improvement. So that is it. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to all the viewers who watched these get introduced to the channel, about 2 years ago. And for those of you who are confused, go back and watch. Those are some of the better videos on this channel, I gotta say. That's it. Thank you. I will see you in the next one.